A lot of people will say IndyRef 2. Oh, please remind me what that's about. Why is it a significant phrase, and might it be coming back?
OK, so IndyRef 2 is what we use to describe the idea of a second Scottish independence referendum, like the one we had in 2014. And essentially the SNP's position after the first referendum was lost was that we would hold a second referendum if there had been a significant change in circumstances, such as the UK leaving the European Union. And of course that happened. The SNP have continued to be successful in Scottish elections of one form or another. And so Scottish independence has remained on the agenda with IndyRef 2.
So where are we now? Nicola Sturgeon has gone. There's a whole galaxy of names of people that particularly English people are probably going to struggle, or people in the rest of the UK struggle with a bit. Let's just go through the most likely riders and runners and what that might mean for the future direction of policy for the SNP and therefore the future debate about independence.
Yes, well, it is difficult if you're based in England to really just get that day-to-day sense of Scottish politics, and so it's interesting to see how, the fact that these are relatively unknown to us shows us how Scottish politics has become. And there are people like Angus Robertson, who we may know from being in Westminster, but has gone back to the Scottish Parliament, and so he's one that we may recognise. There are one or two others. The health minister, whose name I've proving the point, the name I've forgotten. It's sort of
Youssef, I think.
Yes, who had some prominence during the pandemic, inevitably. And there's the
Lady Kate Forbes.
That's the one I'm thinking of, Kate Forbes, who relatively new in the Scottish government, and her own personal beliefs may impact as regards the gender recognition bill.
Yes, she is very much a committed Christian, and of course in Scotland there are various grades of that, if I can put it that way. But her views, if she gets the top job, could actually influence SNP policies pretty significantly, it seems.
Well, yes, and the other thing is that the SNP is a broad coalition, as we can see with some of the runners and riders, but also the SNP is in coalition with the Green Party in Scotland. And, the Green Party are socially liberal. And so, she becomes First Minister, that might put pressure on the coalition that you have at Holyrood. And so there may be a decision about whether to judicially review the Westminster government blocking the gender recognition bill, and that might be her first big test if she becomes First Minister.
Do you think there are some rays of hope here for Labour to revive itself in Scotland? Do you think, with the going of Nicola Sturgeon and possible changes in the direction of the Scots Nats policy?
I think so, because, with Nicola Sturgeon going, that is, someone who has dominated Scottish politics for the past 10 years or so. And, that inevitably creates space. And inevitably people may start to look elsewhere. And, if Labour are doing generally well in the polls, more broadly speaking, for the next general election in 2024, then, some Scottish SNP voters may find themselves voting Labour next time round, and that puts a different hue on the independence question overall. What you might think is that maybe Nicola Sturgeon has pursued IndyRef 2 to the exclusion of other things. And now other things have risen on the agenda, and, that does create an opportunity for Labour. And the polls have started to just narrow a little bit, with the SNP falling a touch and Labour coming up. So there's opportunities there, I think, for the 2024 general election.